Kia ora koutou e te whānau. Welcome back to another edition of Big Hearing News. Kia ora, Chewy.
Kia ora, Pat. I have just
It is
spent the evening duct taping every window and loose
Oh.
piece of foliage around my house
You know what
for
I
the
thought
windstorm.
today? I thought today, for the first time ever whilst I was upstairs, I went, if we had shutters, we'd probably close them, like in the old days. You'd have the shutters to bring across the window for when the storms came through.
See, I'm a big fan of zombie films, so
Yeah.
I think like any sort of slight change from the standard weather should be accompanied by you nailing pallet wood over every window and door in your house. It just adds drama.
Very good. And we all love a bit of drama. Speaking of drama, update on I'm just not even going to mention his name now, but our nightly update will be coming along at some stage during the show with our nightly friend, who it seems like is perhaps concerned about the reaction that people are giving the person who he doxed on Monday. Strange that. It's kind of weird, eh? So we'll have a quick... Oh, well, that's not going to be a big feature tonight, Whānau. It's just a little update for you because, we can't not have a little update. We're also going to be talking about Marama Davidson and Mr. Seymour, David Seymour, on Big Herald News this morning. They were talking about a whole bunch of stuff. It was quite a strange interview because at the start it was like question, answer. And it felt like you're watching a school report or kind of kids doing it. There was no debate, but then the second half of the conversation, it kind of got good. And the second part of the conversation we're going to look at, they talk about obviously the strikes tomorrow, which is a big thing. They're also talking about how to pay for doctors charges, and the future fund as well. So we'll have a quick look at that tonight as well. Obviously, the biggest news story of the day at the moment is the state of emergency in Canterbury and the weather. I haven't heard anyone say weather bomb. That seemed to be a word that trended
That's a plus, right?
Yeah. So
That's a good thing.
It's a weather something or other else bomb. And also, obviously, it's going to impact our not quite a general strike tomorrow, to which we've got Anne Daniels from the NZNO coming on in just a couple of seconds to talk all about it. But I wanted to give you a very quick update on a couple of things. I know that many people are looking forward to the coffee cups. I know that Chewy can't wait to drink out of his own face, if that's the correct way to say it. I'm not entirely sure. But we've had a bit of a problem with the supplier, who has let us down a bit, and it might end up being that we don't get them in before Christmas. However, as we speak, I was up till 3 a.m. talking to China. I am seeing if they can do us a second run and maybe put them on an airplane, which means they'll cost us some more, but we might be able to get them for you before Christmas. So all sorts of fun and tomfoolery going on with that at the moment. The other thing I was thinking, we're not going to get into this now, but for people who may enjoy a 4XL, 5XL, 7XL. I don't think there's a 6, is there? I think it goes 4, 5, 7. And you'd like something for Christmas, it's a long way out. Don't panic yet, but I thought about it today. What we might do is give you guys till the end of November to get your orders in. We might need a bit of extra time to get anything in for you. So just kind of earmarking a few things, because I'm thinking about the shop, and I'm thinking about Christmas Day, and I'm thinking about all those wonderful BHNers, and also all those wonderful national voter parents who are going to open up BHN merch on Christmas morning. It's going to be delightful. Chewy's face as far as the eye can see. Cool. The other thing is I've been talking to another supplier about maybe looking at getting some stickers made offshore, Chewy. I know we make them in-house at the moment, but we're just investigating the other option as well. So I had one computer, I was talking to India. Literally, this is why I got to be so late. I was talking to India on one computer about Adobe issues, and on another screen I was talking to China about hats, and no, not hats, sorry, about cups and our last enamel, which is the Nikki No boats. Or it's just like it's the world, it's the globe into the studio in one hit. And then of course Chewy lives about 5 k's that way, so it's kind of the world in motion. It's Dunedin, India, China. It was kind of cool. Yeah. So that's about it for kind of family notices. Is there anything else that I've forgotten, Joey? Oh, we're playing it to have a look. If you haven't yet nominated us for a New Zealand Podcast Award, the Listener's Choice, obviously it's a bit strange because podcasts still always talk about listen. There are very few podcasts in this day and age that actually are just listen. There are some, but there's very few. But if you want to nominate us, that QR code in the top corner of the screen, which is going to go away, so it'd be a good time to do it now if you can, or if you're watching us on demand, you know where it is, and head to...
Do it now.
Oh, yeah, well, you might forget. And you might want to, and if you're watching us on a phone and you don't want to kind of stop and try and take a photo of a thing that's on your phone with another phone, and it's there we go, nzpodcastawards.com/nominate, and you do need to have a link in the nomination as to where you listen to us. I think the YouTube link would be fine, which is youtube.com/@BigHairyNetwork is where you listen to us, or there's the Apple one, or there's the thing, and on the FaceTube, the Facebook page, I put some other links here as well if people want to use them, like the Apple one or the Spotify one, or yes, all of that kind of stuff. So that's up there now, and if you're not quick enough, you might miss out. Boonk, like that. See how that works? Now it's gone forever, and we'll never be back again until it is in about 55 minutes or something like that. As I said that, I thought of one more thing, and I think it's just gone now. Nominate, awards. There's more important things to think about. Like, for example, our strike tomorrow, a Chewy action figure. You know those AI images that are going around at the moment where it's got I've had someone send one to me and I'm in the bath because I'm a dirty, filthy mongrel apparently who smells. Someone said to me the other day, I can smell you through the camera. They said I can smell you through the camera, and I tweeted back, you didn't say smelling good or bad, so I'll take it. Of me in a towel holding a brush, and it's like in a game card with a plastic thing on it. If you could turn those into like actual printable things, that'd be dope. We'll totally do that. Totally.
Isn't it amazing how the internet's worth people have just absolutely latched on to AI?
It's funny, eh?
They've got other marketable skills, no other creativity, but holy shit, they can type some really basic prompts into an algorithm, into a machine to spit out lame memes. Because
they are all basic bitches. That's how it goes, Chewy. Those two things go together. Okay, huge news tomorrow with not quite a general strike, but certainly, I don't know who coined the phrase mega strike. Like, is that a media thing, or is that someone from the inside? That seems to be what it is now. So the vernacular is the mega strike is happening tomorrow. Listening to Chris Abercrombie tonight on the news, he said striking is not about waving placards, meaning there are some cancellations. What they are about is removing your labour. So that's the important part for tomorrow. And I think it's time for us to bring on from the New Zealand Nurses Organisation, Anne Daniels. Anne, good evening to you.
Evening.
Kia ora. We need one of those people like the Prime Minister has, that signs language beside us so they can sign to you, because it's hard for you to hear us tonight. So that's right.
And you keep freezing, Pat.
Well, that's okay on our end. It probably means you're on Wi-Fi and it might be a bit slower on your end, but it's not freezing over here. I'm constantly moving on this side. Anne, big news for tomorrow. Obviously big news in the strike, but also with this weather coming through, we want to make sure everybody knows what's going on. So maybe it might be a smart thing to tell people, if they haven't heard so far, where the cancellations have been for public safety due to the weather. I've got the list here as well. I can put it up. Do you want me to put it up? Do you know it?
Yeah, that would be good, because it's changing every moment, and some of the events are trying to go inside. Like, I know Dunedin's going to the Edgar Centre, which is a really big venue. And there are free buses going from the hospital taking people to the Edgar Centre if they want to hop on. But I'm pretty sure Christchurch is closed down completely because there's a state of emergency there now.
As I'm speaking, I'm putting that link for all these into our chat. It's going into our live chat so people can look for themselves. It appears, as you say, because of the state of emergency, they're still going on all over the country. Napier, Wairoa, New Plymouth, Palmerston North, Whanganui, Taumaranui, Wellington's there as well. Levin has been cancelled. Pardon
Wellington's
me.
cancelled.
Wellington has cancelled all planned events, rallies, and sign waves. Sign waves? Oh, I guess that's waving the sign, isn't it? I'd never heard of the technical term. The sign waves have been cancelled. Levin, so it's Wellington, it's around Carterton, Wairarapa, and then it's across into the South Island. Wairarapa, yep, all planned events, rallies, and sign waves have been cancelled. Nelson is on. Takaka Golden Bay is on. Motueka is on. Blenheim has been cancelled. Greymouth is on, but it's changed to indoor. Hokitika is on indoors. Yep. Christchurch, all planned events and rallies have now been cancelled.
Yeah.
And you've got Titai o Potini. That's changed, but it's on. Then we've got Mid Canterbury, South Canterbury, Oamaru, Cromwell, Alexandra, Wanaka, Queenstown, all cancelled. Dunedin is a change.
The further south you go, the further south you go, the worse it gets.
Dunedin has changed, as you've said. Balclutha has changed, still going on. Invercargill has changed. Hokonui Gore is still going ahead. Now, I'm not going to go through and read out what all those changes are. If you either are a part of this or you want to support it, you can head to the link that I've just put into the chat and you can find out exactly where they are, the ones that have been cancelled and the changes for the ones that are changed. So, Anne, let's just take a step backwards now and talk to us about the strike, what you hope to achieve, what's going to happen tomorrow for the places that are still holding a strike.
Well, what we hope to achieve is actually to unblock their ears and maybe rattle the minds of those in government to finally get them to listen to the multiple unions that are going on strike, because we've got similar issues. We're all being offered less than cost of living pay rises, which are actual pay cuts. But our main problem is the work conditions and the unsafe staffing that we're actually having to deal with. And it's very different in the different sectors. For instance, I know that we don't have enough teachers, but worse still, we don't have enough teacher aides. Now, I've got 2 autistic grandsons, and they both need a teacher aide. But the reduction in hours and the wages of these teacher aides, who do a phenomenal job to support not only the teachers but the families, are incredible. And so if we don't have them, those children will not be in school, which means that the parents will not be in work. It has an ongoing effect, fewer tax dollars and fewer bits of funding to pay for the things that we need. In terms of firefighters, they don't have enough, but their equipment is breaking down and they're not meeting the requirements of their own standards. I was just reading today that the Sky Tower, when it had a fire in it, they were told in the review that they had to get an aerial plan up and running, and that hasn't happened. I was driving around Wellington today, seeing that the fire engines are saying this piece of equipment is broken. I mean, this is crazy. People are going to work knowing that they don't have enough resource, not enough staff to be able to do their job and save lives. It's the same for nursing and the doctors. We don't have enough nurses and doctors, and it's just terrible. So, and amongst all of this, we get the Prime Minister apparently answering, I haven't seen it yet for myself, but apparently answering a question from Chloe Swarbrick, asking, are the nurses safe at work? And he said, yes, they are, knowing full well they weren't. And there's so much evidence to refute that statement. How does this government ever expect anybody to believe anything they say?
And could you connect for us the dots? Because we're talking about better pay and better, safer working conditions. How does a nurse get safer conditions with an injection of more money? Because if it's more staff, then there's going to be a lag there, isn't there? So how does the more money invested equate to a safer nurse?
Well, we need to take a step back and actually acknowledge that the increase in funding in the health system that this government keeps talking about, and I'm sure Craig Rennie has spoken to it, is a nonsense. We know that that's just not true, and I'm not going to go into that. But we need more money to pay the nurses. Retention and recruitment are absolutely crucial in this discussion. So first of all, we need to recruit more nurses. The government's idea is to recruit them from overseas, but where they're coming from, those countries are crying out for their nurses as well. So there's a matter of ethics here. We need to ask ourselves, should we be recruiting from overseas when we should be growing our own? And there's a number of issues here. First of all, the people from overseas don't understand our culture, do not know Te Tiriti o Waitangi, Te Reo, Te Kanga. They do not understand the requirements of the Nursing Council that states that we have to be culturally safe in our approach to practice. So, we need to keep our nurses here. We know that our nurses, because they can't get jobs, because recruitment is not happening, regardless of what the government says, there is a recruitment freeze, they're going to Australia, where they can get better pay, where they can be valued, where they can have career options, and where they can have nurse to patient ratios so they can do the job that they should be doing in the way they should be doing it in a timely manner. So we need to keep them here.
Yep.
And to do that, we need to offer comparable, compatible, and competitive pay with Australia. Now, I just want to say our lovely Minister of Health keeps comparing us to the New South Wales. They've just gone up, well, they're asking for 35% right now to be comparable to Queensland. So I'd be quite happy if we continue to be compared with New South Wales and actually be offered the 35% we deserve.
You've taken a step backwards, and we understand that theory. Is the idea about a safer environment for nurses just mean more nurses? Like, is that the thing that's going to make it safer for nurses and patients, to have enough people that nurses then don't have to work longer hours, do double shifts? Is that, because I'm just still trying to connect how more money equals safer.
It's part of the issue. What we really, really need, taking a step backwards, is a proper workforce plan. So we've got one in Te Whatuora for the health professionals, but it's not worth the paper it's written on, to be perfectly honest. But it's not whole of health system workforce planning. So it doesn't include aged care or primary health care, nor the funded sector. And it's abysmal. We have been asking for donkey's years for a decent, across all sectors, a workforce plan that actually sits outside, the government ping pong ball issues of how we're going to pay for this. The fact is that everybody just keeps looking at the upfront money. They don't look at what's happening downstream. If we actually have enough nurses, doctors, and the wider team, enough receptionists, enough people in the back room to do the appointments and all these sorts of things. If we have enough of those people in the public sector, primary health care, and aged care, then we can actually save money. And the International Council of Nurses has demonstrated that through a huge piece of research, to say that for every dollar invested in a nurse, economically, we save 4. Queensland has actually demonstrated that through their research, because they have largely implemented nurse to patient ratios. they have found that they have saved money because they reduce the number of patients that come back into hospital unexpectedly because they haven't been discharged properly. They reduce the number of what they call adverse events, like falls, pressure area cares, post-operative infections, and it goes on. And so investing saves money. And we don't have to do it all up front. If we had a proper workforce plan, we could phase these things in. They did it in Queensland. They've been doing it for quite a number of years now in partnership with the government because they know that it works.
Chewy, sir.
I just got an echo off you there. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I can hear the echo. I heard the echo there too.
Okay,
it seems to have gone.
Yeah. Sweet as. Yeah, it's to me that sounds just like common sense. I know we've spoken to you about this before. My sister is a nurse here in Dunedin. Everything that you said is echoed in her day-to-day experiences in Dunedin Hospital. The stories that she has told me about unsafe staffing, especially at night, is dealing with challenging patients and challenging situations with just not enough backup and not enough coverage and not enough safety net if something goes wrong. If that's her experience, it's other nurses' experiences as well, and that's really scary. And it just seems to me that this government doesn't seem to think anything past the line item on the budget. It doesn't think about the money it will save by not having to fill staff that go overseas, that have, the follow-up treatment because something wasn't done right, the consequences of a tired, stressed nurse making a mistake, that sort of stuff. It's all short-term thinking.
Yeah, it is all short-term thinking, and that's why health and the health system, the intent of the Pyora Act to actually turn the health system around from cure to prevention, it wasn't perfect, but it was absolutely going in the right direction. So right now, this government is actually pulling apart the Pyora Act and removing all aspects of Te Tiriti o Waitangi and cultural safety. But even worse, you talk about ethics, that we are being accused of being immoral right now by going on strike. They are putting in the changes to the Pyora Act so that we are not allowed to speak out and advocate for our patients and speak about the unsafe work conditions. They are trying to put that into the Pyora Act, which negates the required our nurses and doctors and all our professionals are required under our regulations to speak out and advocate if we see these situations. So they're going to put us in a very difficult position. We're not going to be able to meet our nursing council competencies, for instance, if we do not do this. The Health and Safety Act says that if you see something that's going to possibly put somebody in danger, you have to speak out, or if you don't, you're complicit. So this government is saying that they're going to change the law to force us to be complicit with hurting, harming, and virtually killing our patients.
I've got a specific question to ask you, Anne, based on our conversation with Chris Abercrombie last night. Okay. I was editing the show this morning to make some clips, and I actually think, Chewy, we stumbled across one of the most important facts that no one in the media is talking about. This is only 55 seconds. Let me play it. I as soon as I saw this, I stopped all of my editing. I cut it straight away. I put it on all of my TikToks and all of our socials for people to be able to use it. And if you can't hear this, Anne, because of your volume issue, I will paraphrase it at the end. Mind you, you could also read it because we do have a captions here. So we'll have a look.
We haven't had any bargaining this month, and we don't have a date till the 11th of November. So we're not open to bargaining.
Let me pause you. Let me pause you because let's go through the system. You haven't had any bargaining this month. Why?
Yeah.
Who's that on? How does it work?
So you have to agree to dates. Obviously, that's a key thing. And the ministry didn't agree to any bargaining dates in October. They agreed to some bargaining dates in November and December.
So offered. You're saying that the union offered a number of dates, and they said no to all of them. So that's on them.
And I've said to the Public Service Commission, our bargaining team is ready to meet. I've said that several times in the lead up. I talked to him a week. The last thing I told him was like a week and a half ago, and I said, "Well, we're happy to bargain. Like let's get it going." But no, nothing.
So to paraphrase, in case you missed any of that, Anne, the NZPPTA.
We haven't had any bargaining.
Chris. The NZPPTA has been offering dates as the national government has been saying, get around the negotiation table, and the government has been saying, no, we'll do one in November. So at the same time that the Prime Minister, and I did a follow-up to my own tweet, so the mainstream media, you guys with access to Luxon et al., let me help you. Luxon, Stanford, Collins, Brown, whoever it is, what the union needs to do is get back to the bargaining table.
Mm-hmm.
Reporter, then why did you rebut all the dates they asked to do that in October? So my question to you for the NZNO is, when were you last around the bargaining table, and how has this government received, I'm assuming you're doing the same thing, you're suggesting dates, are they being more receptive to the NZNO than they're obviously being to the NZPPTA?
Well, we have actually been around the table very recently, but not before we had to go into mediation because we were getting absolutely nowhere. And the result of the mediation wasn't satisfactory for either side. So we have gotten around the table. But the problem with our negotiations is that the team keeps changing. So this is actually really quite problematic because it means that we have to keep going back to square one. And quite often the people who are in the team don't have the authority to make any decisions. So we're talking to people who can say whatever they like, but they can't commit to anything, and they don't bring anything to the table that we can actually work with. It's the same old every single time. I understand in the last session that they did put back on the table that they might look at some of the things that they had withdrawn 6 months earlier. And this is yet another problem that's happening. We started off well. We started talking about things, for instance, like having recognition of the extra work that Maori and Pacifica nurses bring to the table, because they are constantly asked to intervene when patients who are Maori or Pacifica need particular types of culturally safe care, which a lot of our mainstream nurses, despite the fact that they're New Zealanders, still are unable to provide. And have them recognised and pay. Now, we were talking about that. It got removed from the table. And just recently, they said that they might start talking about it again. But we've been in negotiations for a year. And this stop-start business, changing the team that we're talking to over and over again, is not useful. And, the employer has a vested interest in doing this. It's called stalling. The longer they stall, the less money they have to pay, because they're under no obligation to pay us any kind of back pay to the start date.
Luxon has said that in the press in the last 2 days specifically. He has said, and it came across to me as a threat, we will not be paying back pay. So every day they don't make a deal, they're losing money. He has literally said that to the camera in this week's news.
Absolutely. So the employer, Te Whatu Ora, who is under orders from the current government to put budget before people, are doing exactly that. The longer they stall, the less they have to actually pay. And we're coming up very quickly to the end of October, where technically we'll all be on individual contracts instead of a national collective. It's been going on that long. Now, I don't know whether they're interested in actually doing 35,000 odd individual contracts with us. I'm sure they're not. But they've got no reason to hurry. And then we've got an election coming up. They've got even less reason to hurry.
Have you got a date for the next time you're Have you got a date for the next time you're round the table?
I'm not on the negotiating team, so no, I don't have that date. But we will continue to actually turn up. And we have actually turned up, and that the other side hasn't turned up on occasion. So, that's pretty useless.
Do you mean literally?
and-
Do you mean? Hang on. Do you mean you've literally gone to a meeting and sat in a room where no one's turned up
The
from the other
negotiating
side?
team has actually turned up for meeting dates that they've agreed on, and they haven't come. Yes.
Wow.
Pat, the fire union posted a very similar image today where they were around the negotiating table and the other side of the table was empty.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've been trying to find that. But
this is, but hang on, but I think that we're obviously not smart enough to know what's going on, because this is the government of business and this is the Prime Minister who knows how to negotiate contracts. So we're obviously missing something here, that obviously this is a professional and appropriate tactic that's being used to not turn up to negotiate a contract, while you're fucking telling the public that these guys have to get up and get around the table to negotiate. That's what infuriates me from last night. When I realized this edit is like, he is standing in front of the camera. He did it again tonight at the news. They just need to get back to the table. Why haven't you said yes to some of the October dates then? Why weren't you there when the fire service turned up? Why weren't you there when the NZNO turned up for those certain days? You're not even around the table when you've set dates. It's infuriating from this side of things.
And why did they threaten the doctors? They threatened the doctors and said that they had to go to arbitration. Of course, Sarah Dalton said no. We're not having somebody take over and tell us what we need.
Yeah.
We know what we need. We need enough money and safe work conditions to actually keep our people here. Encourage our young ones to go into medicine, nursing, physiotherapy, and all those sorts of things, and decide to stay here in New Zealand. But we've got nothing. We have nothing to keep them here. And it really, really worries me. One of the most important things we need to do is encourage more Maori and Pacifica to come into nursing and medicine. What incentives are there? They've spent their entire lives learning to sort of deal with racism that is right in front of them. And here we have a government that's doing exactly that. Why would they go into a system that is racist and absolutely, totally unfair to the most disadvantaged people in our country, who should be the best off because they are our Indigenous people?
This is why the public is with you guys. This is why the public is with the teachers, because your story is honest, believable, accurate. Their story is not. Chewy, we should probably wrap up with Anne. I've seen you flicking through images there. Is there anything you want to share or wrap up with?
This is what I was talking about just there. Firefighters Union posted this image ahead of last week's strike. The caption read, Prime Minister said, get around the table. We did. Fire and emergency in New Zealand didn't.
Wow.
So doesn't that seem to be a consistent thing from the sound of it?
Mm.
Yeah. And
so
you have to wonder if
to
it's
have
happening.
the Prime Minister get up there and say, oh, you guys have got to get around the table while this bullshit is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. You have to wonder if it's happening to all unions, then it must be a directive from the government. And the government keeps saying that they're not going to actually talk about this because negotiations are going on. But behind the scenes, they're doing everything to actually stop negotiations from actually happening or being successful, unless it's on their terms.
Yeah.
And this is why the people are striking tomorrow. And it's not just the 120,000 odd union people. I don't think the weather is going to beat us. I think it's going to make people more inclined to come and stand beside us, with us, and behind us, Chewy.
Yeah.
I accused Pat of you being you the other day. I do apologise.
It's all right. He's a good-looking man. I'm perfectly happy to be compared to Chewy. He's a good-looking man. Yeah, and this is talking to Chris last night about the story that, you know, the government is trying to sell this narrative that they're letting down the pupils, or they're letting down the patients, and even no matter how hard they push, the public are with the strikers. We all know that it's an imposition. If I had an appointment at the hospital tomorrow, it would be an imposition, but we'd still be behind you guys. And I think that this just screams as to why it is. And we played a bit with Mr. Luxon speaking to Mike Hoskins this week, and even Mike Hoskins was going, you know, the unions and the this and the that. And my commentary was, at what point do they go, maybe it's us? Maybe it's the government. Maybe we're the common denominator in all these things. And so exactly the same for this. They're not turning up to meetings. They're saying get around the table when they're not allowing meetings to happen. Maybe they're the common denominator in all this bullshit. Maybe it's them, Anne.
And talk about ethics. Oh, my God. You know, Chloe got up and said, get a spine, and she got chucked out of the house for it. The fact is that they have got no spine at all. There's no ethics in their spine. It's a jelly. It just wobbles. It goes where it can do the best for themselves. This government is about themselves and not the people. And that's why the people will be with us tomorrow, because the people are the unions and we are the people. They'll be with us.
Yeah, it's obvious the government doesn't understand how unions go when they kind of make it sound like the nurses, the unions are doing the nurses a disservice when the union are the nurses and the union are the teachers, and they think of them as separate. Hey, listen, Anne, all the best for tomorrow. I've got an appointment, unfortunately, at midday that I can't shift, but I'm going to come along to Edgar Centre. I'll probably be there at 1. I know you guys are kind of going to 1:30. Hopefully I'll catch the end of it. It's I don't want to sound too dramatic when I say we are with you, Braveheart. But the country, it's very obvious the country is. You know, that just goes to show again how terrible this government is. He's supposed to be the marketing prime minister. He's running adverts to talk you guys down to a population that's 90% with you. The advertising's not working. The spin's not working. The bullshit's not working. And unfortunately, it's you guys who are missing out, and you guys who are harmed by it, and it's us, the public, who are then using hospitals and stuff that are less safe because we've got overworked, run down, understaffed people looking after us in the hospitals through no fault of their own. So someone put in the messaging when I used that thing about maybe it's them, maybe we're the baddies. I think that's what National needs to be like. Maybe we're the bad guys here. Maybe we're wearing the black caps here. I
don't think they'll ever see it.
No, I don't think so either. All right, Anne. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you jumping on the computer, even though it was harder for you to hear. We'll sort you out we'll sort you out some headphones. We'll do your a BHN Christmas gift, and then it'll be all sorted for you next time we talk to you. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. If we don't see you in the flesh, all the best, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again super soon.
Yeah, I'm in Wellington because I'm stuck.
Oh, okay. I won't see you tomorrow. People in Wellington might see it. Oh, then there's nothing on in Wellington, so you're striking from afar. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll represent you at some point, hopefully in Dunedin. Hopefully. As well.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right,
Take care.
Cheers,
Thanks,
Anne.
Chewy.
Cheers, Anne. All the best.
All right.
No worries.
Okay, I was going to play one other thing, but because of the sound, I decided not to. Sorry, Chu, you go first, and then I'm going to play you something else.
I was just going to say, like, a lot of people have expressed disappointment that the weather is not cooperating. I prefer to see it as the weather is joining the strike. I noticed that because of the severity of the weather warning, especially in Wellington, they are warning people to not come into work. That is an official civil defence warning to stay at home. So if you're staying at home, maybe you're working from home. Maybe you can't work from home. That sounds like a hell of a lot of unregulated internet time where we can all cyberbully the government on strike day. So if you can't get to an event, if there isn't one in your area because it's been cancelled because of the weather, because of safety reasons, you now have a new mission. Be mean to the government. Online, on all their social media channels where they're crowing about more teenagers being in prison than ever before. I don't know what they do. But this is your opportunity. It's a virtual picket line.
I was going to play this to Anne, but it was time for after to let Anne go. But also, I was a bit worried about the sound. This is Chris last night. It was fascinating. True. I don't know if other people do this, but when I listen to something for a second time, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, we didn't hype this up enough. So this was right at the start of the conversation last night. I mean, we're pretty good at hyping things up, but we missed something here. This is the start of the conversation. We're just actually kind of chilling and chatting, and Chris was looking down the whole time before, well, me and Chewy were talking about inappropriate things. And so we made a joke about him doing work, and he said he wasn't doing work. He was looking at OIAs, Official Information O. No, A. It's A. A? A. A? Yeah, OIA. I think. Yeah, I'll get there. And the thing that he said, and I was going to throw this at Anne about the nurses' salaries that this government's been talking about, is how he or someone has found out, the government's been overinflating all these salaries. What he said in the OIA, official information. Yeah, okay, we're there. How he said that they actually decided to say what an average teacher's salary was. Have a listen.
Yeah, I was actually posting on our social media. I was just looking through some OAs and found some interesting stuff, so I thought put it on some of our teachers to have a look at.
Oh, do you want to tell us anything about these OAs you've just found?
Oh, so there wasn't one.
Can I just ask this question as well? That blue T-shirt is pretty sharp, eh? I mean, just between me and you, that's.
Someone gas pad up. He's low on gas.
I think it's good.
My mate, it was just I'm a nerd, so I go through the ministry's published OIAs, and there was one about. So remember, a while ago, Judith Collins said, teachers make $147,000. Remember that? So apparently, the information the ministry gave her as the average was a deputy principal at a large school, and they said this is how much they would get paid, and the normal average primary teacher was a teacher who's working in a Maori immersion unit. And is getting a $12,000 allowance for doing that.
So when they were talking about that, every single time we said, hey, reporters, people with access, ask them to show us your workings. Ask them to show us your workings. Well, they did show them their workings for the teachers. I've written it down here. The government said, teachers make $147,000 average. How they got that average, this is their word average, was they used a deputy principal at a large school, meaning there's not a constant for deputy principals. A deputy principal at a rural school would get paid a lot less than a deputy principal at Rangitoto High, or it would be high primary. Anyway, and the other way they looked at it was to look at a teacher in a Maori immersion unit. Things in teaching when you get paid extra, it's called a management unit. I'm sure it's the same. They get a $12,000 management unit on top of their salary. So the average was taken from a deputy principal at a large school and a teacher in a Maori immersion unit with a $12,000 management unit on top. And that's how they so confidently from the front talked about how much teachers earn, because that's the average. The average person, the average teacher, is a deputy at a large school or a $12,000 management unit on top of a salary for Maori immersion. And we would have talked to Anne, have they figured out this whole teaching stuff yet? Nursing stuff, because they said similar ridiculous numbers about the nurses. We are yet to see that workings. But for fuck's sake, like honestly, we are rodeo clowns in Dunedin. We are actually really unimportant in the grander scheme of things when it comes to media commentary. We are small. We have a niche audience who we love to bits. We love being here with you. But people who actually look in the Prime Minister's eye every single day need to be saying, show us your workings. Needs to be saying, hey, you know how you want them to get back around the table? Why have you declined every single date the NZPPTA has offered in October and pushed them back till November? How can they get around the table quickly when you're not giving them a date for another at least month from now? Like, what's next week? Sorry, Trey.
I was just going to say, I was talking to Mountain Tui about this the other day. How so many of the things that we talk about at length, and a lot of really good content creators are just tearing apart at the moment with what little resources we all have, right? We don't have big teams or researchers or anything like this. We're just doing a little bit of extra digging. The big boys aren't.
Yeah.
They're not even trying to scratch the paint on press releases that come out. And if they are going to criticize someone, it's really surface level stuff. And it is frustrating for exactly the reasons that you mentioned, right, Pat? We are small. We are niche. We know this is good info. And sometimes we're blessed by one of the big boys seemingly coming to the same idea 4 or 5 days later. It's strange.
Do you know what it might also be, though, as well? I used to have this debate when I was working in radio, that, like, when I was working for what is now NZNO, I used to say when I was working on News Talk ZB, why can't I interview this person who's a host on Radio Live? And they're like, well, because they're on Radio Live. And I said, yeah, but it's a news story. Why does the competition story rank more highly than the news story? And I would cite, for example, Dave Letterman, who was on CBS. They didn't go, sorry, no ABC shows, sorry, no HBO shows. It was like the content was the thing that was the most important. So they would have everybody on from every network and every station. I actually think, and it's the first time I've thought this, Chewy, with you talking right there, I actually think one of the ways we're able to do this is we take information from there and from there and from there and from there. TVNZ doesn't do that. TVNZ doesn't go to TV3 and go, oh, yep, that's great. Or TV3 doesn't go to News Talk Z being, oh, yep, that's great, because they're like this in their own little circle. They will a little bit if it's big enough, but generally they don't. I wonder if that's got a part to play for it. And I'm going to do something really cheesy now, whānau, and I struggle to do this, and you know I don't normally. I nearly said to Anne, this is why conversations like this on platforms like this are really important. Some of those things that Anne just said about, for example, not getting around the table, have we heard that anywhere on any other media source? No. Have we heard any reporter on the tiles in Parliament say to Simeon Brown, hey, but they turned up and you weren't there? Have we heard that anywhere? No, we haven't. And this is the bit that makes me uncomfortable, but I'm going to fucking do it. We currently have 452 patrons. That is a huge number of patrons. If you watch international stuff, and they have patrons, sometimes they are 10, 15, 20 times the size of us, and they've got like 800 to 1,000 patrons. I thought about this today, so this is not off the cuff. I would like to try and get to, this is 452 active paid patrons. I would like to try and get to 500 before Christmas. It's a massive ask, but the reality is we had a family meeting the other day, an online meeting for the patrons, and some cheeky monkey asked, how much per month would we need to raise for this to actually be a full-time salary and, you know, actually paying its way? And I put a number out there, and the reality is we probably need to increase our patronage by at least 50% to be able to do that. Doubling it is probably where it's at. Now, I'm not suggesting we're going to go from 452 to 1,000 overnight. Maybe by the end of next year, maybe the election will drive us there. I don't know. I haven't done one of these for a long time. I'm uncomfortable doing them, but I'm aware that you're aware that this thing that we're doing costs. 500, I remember being the 100th. Wow, look at you, Baba. Look, some people have given us $1,500. like because of they've been on board for that long. It's unbelievable the generosity of some people. Like given, when I say given us, I mean given to the podcast, which is paid for expenses and that kind of stuff. So I'm just putting it out there, right? I wasn't planning on doing this tonight, but this conversation has just sparked it. I mean, I have been thinking about it. There's two things. We really want you guys to check that you can stay with us until the end of next year. If you're a current patron and it's a bit tight and you're on, $15 a month, which is the patron level, and you're finding it a bit tough, we would rather have you on $8 a month, which is the one down below it, until the end of next year, because that's how we plan to do things. At this point, we're still planning on Waitangi Day. It's not confirmed, nothing's about. We're still planning on being at Waitangi on Waitangi. More to that. So if you're already a patron, could you please consider what you would need to do to stay with us until the end of next year? I guess if you're on $8 and you think I could do 15 till the end of next year, you're welcome to think that as well. If you've been a lurker for a while, if you're an ex-patron, if you want to come on board and stick with us till the end of next year, that's what we're asking, then have a think about it and head to patreon.com/Big Hairy News. This whole Patreon sign and system is going to change next year. I don't mean the payment system, but like the rewards and the access. And for example, as an example, I thought of this today, I haven't told you this. If I manage to get, say, 50 of those coffee cups to come across, they'll be offered first to the patrons because the patrons have stuck with us for that long. It's only fair and appropriate, right? And remember, I said if, but that's the kind of thing. The patron community will change for next year. There will become more. We will become more committed to doing more stuff for the patron community for next year. So I just thought of that while Anne was talking, how important these kinds of conversations are. It made me think how grateful we are to you and how grateful you should all be for our patrons because they help this to continue on. And if you've been thinking about it for a while and you want to do a Christmas present till the end of next year, patreon.com/Big Hairy News. I don't like doing those messages, Chewy. I'd rather have like $2 million.
You did it so well.
I'd like to have $2 million of cash that's been washed by a family trust that came out of the public money coffers and just not worry about anything until we run out of money. But we don't have that right now. That's not who we are.
Hey, Pat.
Yes. Yes.
We've had a great show with some great commentary and some great
Are we leaving?
thinking.
We finished.
It's some really good takes. And just before we move away from the strike thing for a bit, I just think maybe as a palate cleanser, you need to change your tone, right? We've had great chat. Let's hear the other side. Because we did get a criticism that we're not being fair and balanced, right? So we've had good people on with good opinions and good information.
And now it's the brain damaged? Is that the people who are being...
Yeah.
We're not representing the people who have been kicked in the head by horses. We have to be fair and balanced. Okay.
So we need to hear from an idiot.
Okay.
So we've got Duncan Garner. We haven't talked about Duncan Garner for a little while. So a friend of mine sent me this on Facebook going, holy fucking shit, have you seen this? And so I saw it, and now you have to as well.
Day strike is an organised mass sulk. It's a piece of national drama. It's pure theatre. So they can all say, hey, we were there, and there we go. We got the T-shirt as well to prove it. But let's call it what it is. It's organised mass chaos to maximise disruption, to make sure the government and the parents and kids and patients, make sure you feel it and see it and suffer in some way. Make no mistakes, folks. It's not about justice or fairness. This is about making families suffer, about making your day more difficult, about making sure that you miss out on something and giving them a 5-day long weekend. That's what they want. It's also about this, extending Labour weekend. Justified? Hardly. Teachers got 30% increase under Jacinda Ardern. 70% of secondary school teachers now earn above $106,000. Don't come on strong, crying poor. Get back and get some results. Plenty of pay increases, and the results year on year get worse. These are the story of the teachers. Let's call it for what it is: mass organised theatre.
So
there we go.
Can we just ask Duncan a question? What about we even just ignore the teaching stuff? Didn't say anything about nurses there, did he? What about the firefighters?
Didn't say anything
about the
nurses,
firefighters?
but famously firefighters, lazy, good for nothing showboaters.
Someone messaged us, or messaged me, I think us, made a very good point, which I hadn't heard before either. So thank you, Fiona. Hey guys, this is to us, I think. Hey guys, yeah, just twice. Hey guys, like the interview with Chris from PPTA, but no one has ever said, see what we bring you? This is not a joke. This sounds like a Pat set up for a joke. It's not. No one has ever said, I've lost my place. Where am I? Come on, eyes. Work, eyes. There we go. Got it. It's only like 5 lines and I couldn't find it. Dyslexia. But no one has ever said relief teachers' pay is capped at step 6. They don't do that to locum doctors or nurses. So if you're a relief teacher, no matter how experienced you are, no matter how desperate they are to employ you, your pay is capped at step 6, according to Fiona. We'll take that as gospel until proven otherwise. That's pretty shitty. If you've been a teacher for 40 years and then you retire and you kind of do some fill-in work and they put you back down to the pay of a teacher who's been there 6 years, no shade on the 6-year teacher, that's shoddy. That's shoddy.
Yeah, and imagine that work, right? You're still on the books because you need it. There's not enough teachers, and you'll drop anything and come in to teach at very short notice, and then they don't put the correct value on you. That's awesome. Enjoy your retirement.
I apologise as well. My dyslexia is kicking. I think we got me to bed so late last night, massively. That was 4 lines, and I couldn't find the place where I was reading. I apologise.
It's the same with me with my ADD, man. When I get tired, it takes that mental bandwidth to regulate the old thinking meat.
The old noggin.
Yeah.
I'm just putting that link into the chat one more time about the locations for the thing for tomorrow, for the protest for tomorrow. We've got
an extra location, your computer in your house, your phone, wherever you are. You can add the National Party's Facebook page.
Let us go to Citizen who wants I don't know I've never seen this before. This must be something Citizen's doing. I don't know what this is about. Oh, we've got that email from Gold as well. We should read that. Remind me about Nikki No Boats. 423 days at most of these ethically bereft fucks. You could pull up that email if you wanted to, Chewy. 6 cents. Amelia sent us a super sticker, which doesn't show in the system. Even the weather has decided to go on strike, says Kiwi. Wahiki. Immigration adjustments is cheaper and quicker than investing in growing our domestic nursing workforce. Danger of Mouse says we have a Trump copycat government. Arvid says small people doing big jobs. And Rajan says the weather is being a scab. Crossing the picket line, scab. Freaking scab weather crossing the picket line. Did you get that email up?
I don't have that email up. Sorry, but
really?
Yeah,
I'll go. Well,
it's not letting me log in.
Do something. The dance for the whānau. Be a rodeo clown while I go and find it.
There was something I was gonna. There was something.
Got it.
It's the chaos hour.
Got it. Hey Pat. It's just to me. It's not to you.
That's good. That's why you should get it.
Take your headphones off. It's not for you. Hey Pat. I thought this might give you a chuckle. I have a mate called S. So let's think of our mate who starts with letter S. So I've got a mate, S, that can't comment on Discord or the live streams due to his job. Oh, nice. S was telling me that another mate, that we'll call B, S was telling me another mate, B, of ours mentioned Nikki No Boats. When asked where B heard this, he said that he had heard it from a naval officer. Sounds like Willis is not popular within the New Zealand Navy. S was quite keen to pass this on to me. We're getting decent reach. Actually, you know what I said last night, Gold, to Chewy when I read that to him? I'm like, isn't it fantastic that Gold says we're getting decent reach? That's the community thing. That's what I'm talking about. It's like, it is a we're. There's just because, Chewy is the looks of the whole thing. It is in front of the camera the most, doing his stuff. And I sit beside him bringing the tone down. This really is, it is that thing, and I've said it before, if it is that we're seeing further, it's because we're standing on the shoulders, not just of giants, but like of patrons, and like of and like of Anne who comes on, and like of Chris. We're standing on their shoulders if we have seen further. So, yeah. Hi, Chewy. Oh, 1 hour to the second. You put goblin socks in there. Do I need to show this? Do you want to put this up? Is this something?
Oh yes, this is the thing. We've spoken about a couple of years of these very public pay negotiations where we've talked about whole graduating classes of nurses not getting jobs, all of that sort of thing,
Or getting them recanted. What about that one? They got offered and then pulled back.
and then taken away. Now,
Yeah.
if I was to wave a fucking magic wand and just solve all of these pay issues now, there would still be a lag of people that are like, maybe this isn't the career for me. Maybe I don't want to have to fight for the wages that I am owed. Maybe I just won't do that. We will have a lag of quite a few years after this of people really considering if these careers are worth it.
That was what I was kind of asking about the safety issue. Like if we get everything we're asking for pay wise today, how does that, and I wasn't saying like, well, that doesn't do anything. I'm asking, how does that fix the safety issue? Is the safety issue just staffing? Is the safety issue like there's more dangerous people in the beds causing that individual nurse problems? And that's sort of where I was going, because even if we wave the magic wand, everyone got exactly, in fact, everyone got 10% more than they even asked for. Is the safety issue gone away like that? Or is it the start of the process to get rid of the safety issue? That's what I was trying to figure out. All right. Are we moving on now? Moving on.
Let's move on.
Let's have a look at this. I put a tweet out today. I'm not going to go and get it because I can't be bothered. Which was Marama. Maybe I'll get it later. Marama putting the best face in the world when she was standing next to David Seymour, trying to get as far away from him as possible. It was utterly glorious. On my Twitter feed, if you want to see it, maybe I'll bring it up at the end of the show. And they did a lot of talk. They talked about the Marine and Coastal Area Bill, and it did seem a little school reportish. You know, I'll ask Marama a question. David, do you want to ask the next question? Moving on. Like there was no interaction. But at about 5 minutes in, they started talking. They were coming to the end of their conversation around the Future Fund, and they went into a conversation around doctors' changes and then into the strikes. And it kind of got a bit more. And I'm not looking for just entertainment, but to be honest, if I'm watching something and I can just read it in an article exactly as I can see it on a screen, what's the point? So this is a bit more interesting toing and froing between the two. Starting with the end of it, as David Seymour was basically trying to say, how can a government be a business? You know, they're trying to be investors, and they're losing it, and all these things in the past haven't worked, and it's not going to work. And this is where he comes into the conversation.
Had Elevate, the Greens had the Green Investment Fund. What they have in common is they've all taken money that really belongs to taxpayers. They've tried to become venture capitalists. They've invested in a bunch of businesses, and mostly they've lost, and we end up as taxpayers paying off the debt. You know, what Labor is saying is they're going to take $1 billion a year in dividends from companies that the taxpayer currently owns and punt it on a few other companies. Now, I just put it to you, the reason that all these previous versions have failed is that if politicians knew what to invest in, they wouldn't have to come round and ask for money for their campaigns because they'd just be so...
Yeah, but that's why they've
politicians
given it to
doing
the
it.
guardians
The
of the
truth
super
is
fund.
that politicians can't.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
they-
okay, but
yeah.
who gives the... Yeah, okay, but who gives the writing instructions? So the politicians
It's
are
the
going to say what
politicians.
sort of things. Just
Mara's
like all
bored,
of those
by the
previous
way,
ones
you
I
can
mentioned,
tell.
exactly the same problem.
Hey,
when it comes to the GPs,
we are.
when it comes to the GPs, I mean, we've just...
There was a little one. Did you see that face? Watch that face. Just watch Marama. Nothing else.
When it comes to the GPs,
We're
when it comes to the GPs, I mean, we've just
That was the face.
increased
That was
GP
it.
funding by 14%. The ACT
You have.
Party campaigned on that. The government's done it. That's politicians actually making the decision so that
Make
people
GPs
can
free.
so people can get in to see their
Get in there,
GP
Marama.
Marama,
early.
can
It's
we?
not free. It's a
Sir-
question of taxpayer money.
Sir Brian Roche is on holiday apparently on the Gold Coast. This as the mega strike's going to happen tomorrow. Do you think he should be home?
Really want to put all our tautoko from...
Can I just say, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, I won't after this. I'll try not to after this. Marama, Chloe, these people are two of the people who are the best in the house at taking a question. What the right does is they'll then put out their narrative. What Marama and Chloe does is they make sure they get their narrative there whilst answering the question. Like, honestly, they are the best at doing it.
Think he should be home?
Really want to put all our tautoko from the Green Party to our striking workers today who deserve to be paid fairly and have safe working conditions. Unlike the Prime Minister yesterday at question time, who declared that nurses have safe working conditions. He's really got to get out more and speak to the people on the front line who are telling this government, ensure the safety for our workers, for our community, and pay them what they deserve. Ka kaha.
What about Sir Brian Roach? Do you think he should be in town?
Oh, look, I'm more interested in what this government does, the political decisions, the choices that this government is making.
I think Marama did miss a goal there because she's pretty good at being able to, like, whatever the appropriate version is. I don't give a fuck if he's here or not. This is the thing that matters, you know. Not obviously not those words, but an appropriate. Well, it's on the internet thing for there to basically go, why is that the stupid question? That's not the question that we're going to be answering, just so you know. I don't care if he's here or not. The importance is what's going on around the departments or the part of government that he's responsible for. That's, you know, we'll spin it.
Does the political decisions, the choices that this government is making, billions to landlords, tobacco companies and offshore oil barons, can't pay the nurses properly.
The government has, through the Public Services Commission, has released these Facebook ads and it's drawn the ire of opposition.
Now, David Seymour, whether it's $200 or $200,000, David Seymour is the one politician that should actually go, this is a waste of taxpayers' money. This is a waste of taxpayers' money. Let alone is it ethical, let alone any of those other things. The Axe Party, and the what do you call them? The libertarian stance that they claim that they are, is the one party that you should hear them actually agree with that thing that Luxon says.
We want a government that cares about how every single dollar is spent, because every single dollar the government spends is ultimately a dollar from your pocket.
And it is only, I don't even know if it's thousands yet, but it was hundreds yesterday. He should be incredibly opposed to this if he has any ethical consistency.
MPs. I don't know if you can quite see that. What it says is graduate nurses would have seen an 11% increase to their salaries on their 1 year anniversary, an extra $8,300 when including annual progression. I suppose they're trying to set the record straight with some facts about what has been offered.
Alleged facts, you should probably say there, Ryan. How do you know they're facts? So far, most of what we've heard out of this government to do with the strike is horse shit. To
some of these union members across the different sectors, is it, in putting your, sensible hat on, as I know you have, is that a justified use of taxpayer money?
It's not a sex term, is it? I'm a bit naive.
It's now.
He's not talking. It's not like a dirty kind of. You got your sensible hat on. He's not saying. I'm a bit lost. I'm tired, so I'm missing things. I haven't. No. Okay. I'm sorry. I'll keep going.
Well, I think what you've got to remember is we're in a negotiation on behalf of taxpayers. Our job is to get a good deal so that patients and students are getting an education and healthcare for a price that's affordable. Back here in the real world, where everyone, including the government,
I oppose if it's a single dollar wasted. I oppose it.
Pretty tight right now, and it is a fact that under what is being offered and under what's being paid in the last few years, nurses are now getting paid $127,000 at the top of the scale. That's before any recent offers. That's the
interesting messaging. He's changed that. Did you hear that? $127,000 at the top of the scale. I'm pretty sure that's what it used to be average. Pretty sure that was what they were saying for nurses is the average, and now it's at the top of the scale. So make sure you're clear at the top of the scale. Interesting.
I didn't hear that, Pat. I heard something completely different. Are you familiar with the cartoon Snoopy?
I am, and the teacher in particular.
Wah, 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 wah.
We should do that one day. I can't remember. There was someone who said we wouldn't hear from anyone. We'd play Jabba the Hutt noises behind them. I can't remember what it was. So we'd never hear from them again. Every time they asked a question in the interview, it would just be, be quite funny.
I bet he'd sound different if the next question out of Ryan's mouth was, so let's talk about Tim Jago.
Or if it was, can you now show us your sensible hat? I'm sorry. I'm tired. I am sorry. I'm sorry.
South Wales, a state in that case that actually has higher incomes and more tax to pay.
This is what Anne was saying tonight.
Place. You know, teachers, 60% of them over $100,000. They've had a 14% increase in the last 3 years. That's more than the taxpayers who are paying tax to fund these services have had.
Remember, it's not a lie, but this is where, what's that saying, Chew? Facts, damn lies, and statistics, or whatever it is. That 14% increase is accurate, but that brought them to about a 1985 level of parity. Because what they needed to get back to 2025 parity was about 30%. So he's right. He's correct saying they've had that 14%, but that still leaves them about 20 or 30 years behind where they should be. Sorry, Joe.
This is one of the three things that David Seymour is really good at is misinterpreting or maliciously massaging the numbers. He's very, very good at that. The other two things he's good at are sheltering pedophiles and providing character references for murderers. So, you know, it's good to have a broad portfolio of being a shitty person.
How much influence would the leader of a political party have to the hiring of the president of that political party? Do you think that they would? Question. They'd be the deciding factor, or would they have to be completely removed because they're separate departments? Because if the leader of a political party has a lot of sway or influence or a big vote towards the president of the party, there's another conversation we could be having about Tim Jago and the what did we say? The character, the observation of the character of someone, of the people who employed him. Just putting it out there. This has only got about 30 seconds. Let's get to the end of this.
And I think it is reasonable. I understand the concern about government, using public money to advertise its position, but I do think the public deserves... That was his big. They shouldn't be doing it. Listen to it again. Using public money to advertise its position.
That's it.
I do think the public deserve to know that we're trying to balance valuing very important professions. No one is questioning the value of nurses, doctors, or teachers.
But you are questioning the value, because if you value, that's why diamonds cost a lot, because people value them. They have a monetary value to them. If something is not paid for, if something doesn't cost very much, innately it has less value than something that costs more. So paying the teachers, paying the nurses so little and so poorly on a world scale actually shows the opposite of what you're saying. It does actually show you do not value I would like to bring you across to my company as the CEO. We would really value your insights, the experience you've had, the paths you'll be in, and I'm prepared to offer you half of what you're earning at the company right now. But we really value you. I don't think so. I don't think any nurse or teacher does it for the money, but the byproduct of it is they should be paid what they are worth. They should be valued both emotionally, spiritually, sensitively, and financially.
Very important professions. No one is questioning the value of nurses, doctors, or teachers, with a fiscal reality that we have to raise these taxes from a whole lot of other New Zealand taxpayers who want their services, want their education, want their health, and are also doing it pretty tough. So getting some facts out there, not the worst idea.
All right. Yeah, so of course, you don't have to raise the taxes on anybody to give them pay rises. You could just get it back from Big Tobacco, or get it back from Chewy's favourite family, the Mowbrays, or get it back from landlords. You wouldn't have to raise a cent on anyone else's tax. Chewy.
Isn't it really funny? Whenever we go down the path of like, there's not enough money, and anybody that said that we can get more money is talking about taxing everyone. No one is suggesting a broad range of increasing taxes across the entirety of pay scales in New Zealand. We're very clearly saying it's a combination of targeting those that are not pulling their weight, the very lucky, the people that have benefited from this everything that this country has to give them, and a combination of maybe not giving money away to people who don't need it. The property owning class who are absolutely creaming it off the people that can't get onto the property ladder. You facetious fuck.
I thought about this today, and I think where I'm going to land on the people who don't need it is going to be the people who need it least, and it's being taken away from the people who need it most. Because there will be some people who are highly mortgaged, who have they have one investment property and it's their retirement scheme, and they're going to benefit from it. But they need it least. There are going to be people who own 212 properties who don't need it. So it's from the people who need it least, taken away from the people who need it most.
That's not the right family. That's not the Mowbrays.
No. I'm with you. They don't need it.
God, I hate Seymour. One day he's going to come on and I'm going to get a chance to tell him to his face.
All hail Chewy, the Tutiful.
Now, that's the sort of respect that I've been craving.
Table Salt says, what is the magical job with no pay struggle? I think it's the CEO of Air New Zealand, isn't it? Isn't that one? I think maybe.
Apparently, that's a job that you don't have to be particularly good at.
Mike just says, here's $5. Thanks, Mike. You could have said something, but it's good. Kiwi Bird says, wake me up when Seymour ends. Just wait, with a bit of Plunkett coming up shortly. E. Grant Wright. Debbie spoke with fire today, mentioned Jargo. Good. Arvids, the government talks like money disappears when you pay people their worth. It's mostly spent here, and it also helps people live and gets more tax, or pays more tax, I guess. Like that,
again, often overlooked that point. Now, when you give money to people who already have money, then they go, thank you very much, and they put it over here with the rest of their fucking money.
Yeah.
Right? If you give money to working people, they spend the money. They pay their mortgage, they pay their rent, they buy groceries, they go out in the community, they go see the movies. Well, all of this sort of stuff. It's a money go round. It's good. It's not wasted. They spend it at local businesses, restaurants, cafes. They might buy something from a local artist. They do stuff with the money. But apparently, normal people can't be trusted with money. We've got to keep it away from them. But the Mowbrays, they deserve more money because they've already got a lot of money. So clearly they know what to do with it.
It's the idea, and I talked to someone young about this today, about the sort of evils of what a billionaire actually is. I mean, Elon Musk is the perfect example. Basically was a back-end programmer, was involved with PayPal, so therefore he was onboarded and made a lot of money through that. Since then, I mean, I'm not going to say it hasn't worked another day in his life, but since then, his earnings have gone through the roof as they are based on other people's work. He is not coding at SpaceX.
There is no such thing as an ethical billionaire.
Yeah. So one job, give him his dues, whatever he did at PayPal and whatever he helped make and build in the system, and I use that today, PayPal. And then from there on in, it's been off the sweat of the brow of other people. And if you want to look even worse, how about Bezos? I mean, like, I would expect that at least many of the people that work with Musk, for example, who are high up in SpaceX and Tesla and stuff, they'll be earning a okay wicket, I would guess. Now we talk about Amazon, and we talk about people on factory floors, and we talk about people who can't take bathroom breaks because they have timers on them for how much they have to get there. And whilst they're doing that, they're slowly being replaced by robots at the same time. That there is a different level of evil, to build your wealth based off that. You know, it's basically the new work farm, like the 1800s England with all those children out of Oliver. Amazon is the new version of that in 2025. So, but with people with degrees, you know, and grandparents and migrants and all sorts of people. That's what that is. It's a workhouse. All right, and I'm just looking at the name. Alicia Media. Alicia Media. Yep, that'll do. Alicia Media. NZNO, nurses' pay is public. Registered nurse step 7 top is 106,000. Oh, there we go. So hang on. Seymour said top is 127,000. So he's already out by 21,000. So Seymour says the nurses' top pay is 127. Public information is registered top is 106. So he's out by 20% already, overinflating it. Good grief. Thank you, Alicia Media. We should have caught that, and this is why it's lovely to have a community. Over Red Rover, I was going to mention this, but everyone would vomit and run away. Horse and sparrow economics. Yes. If you don't know that story.
Don't set Pat off again. Don't. No, you went 40 minutes on this the other night.
No, I'm not going to. I thought about it a few minutes ago when you were talking, and I thought, no, we won't do that. I was going to say horse and sparrow if you know it, but someone said it for us. All right, we've got 2 more stories. Not that this needs to be quick because it's the biggest news story of the day. And look, there is TV3, I think went for about 12, 13 minutes on their Weather Watch, kind of what's happening around the country. TVNZ did 3 or 4 or 5 short stories. This is one of them. This is the fires happening around the place at the moment. Fires in Hawke's Bay, fires in the South Island, fires down by Timaru, fires by Kaikoura, fires at Whangarei Airport, although that's been put out. The firefighters are going, yeah, if the winds are at 150 k's an hour tomorrow, we can't do anything. So basically, they're dampening down everything right now as we speak, and they're actually asking property owners to go out and check the hot spots. Because if the wind clips up to 150, like they say tomorrow, tomorrow's night news is going to be look like the gates of hell, unfortunately. And I don't say that in a light-hearted way. Because, hell's such a funny topic, Chewy.
Yep.
And, this could work if it wanted to. Should we just hit refresh again? Anytime. It's called the Spiral of Death. Is that what it's called?
The Porangaho Valley charred as fires continue to burn. Crews out dampening flames, hoping to stop the spread towards houses. It's been an anxious wait for families.
We're going up in the paddock, checking to see which way the fire's going. Humming and hurrying, do we stay, do we go, what do we do?
My husband and son had already been told to leave our home here up on the hill. It was thick as, they couldn't breathe.
Over 700 hectares are still burning across multiple sites. The steep hillside making accessing sites a challenge. Well, this is one of 5 sites across central Hawke's Bay causing problems. Locals doing all they can, creating fire breaks like this to stop the spread of the fire.
There was a story out of Kaikoura that a woman whose house was saved said, I thought about it and I got on the ride-on lawnmower and I cut a fire break. And we were like, that's brilliant. And I'd never heard anyone kind of doing it themselves before. Obviously, it's no guarantee. So she basically mowed down, a 3-meter patch around her house as a fire break, and her house, luckily for them, sadly for others, was actually saved. And these guys obviously do it more professionally.
There's a house just over here, so just protecting that with this fire break. Just remove the fuel and it will stop the fire from spreading, and the guys can come in and knock it down like they're doing behind us there.
With helicopters grounded, Fenn sent reinforcements to battle the fire on the ground.
When we fight fires in these type of...
No shade, this guy hasn't had enough sleep. Like, he's been working all night. He's struggling for every thought. And it's literally not shade. These guys have been going around the clock, and I think you can see it in their commander.
Landscapes, the hilly landscapes that are steep, that are forested, it's always very, very tricky.
New pine plantations providing fuel for the flames.
But the wind is not helping us. The wind is driving this fire, but it's not intense because the fuels are still quite damp. What we really urge is for people who are thinking of lighting any fires to not do it.
The growing number of forestry blocks has been a long-standing fire concern for locals.
It's not really managed, it's not looked after, is very scary. Us as the home people having to reinsure ourselves in these circumstances. We've had cyclones, floods, the works, and this is the fire test.
The official cause of the fires is still being investigated, but locals have some ideas.
fire started from trees falling onto the power line and causing the sparks, and it's just got bigger from there with the wind moving it, and it's quite crazy, really. You don't expect it.
And with more wind forecasted, Fire and Emergency are planning to be on site for days to come.
So, massive. Wherever you are in the country, stay safe. In Wellington, they're saying life-threatening winds. That's the words that they're using around the country. Meaning, debris picked up and thrown into, very, very sadly, like that well-known doctor in Wellington got killed yesterday. That exact thing. So the warning is, my dudes, just don't go out.
I was joking. I was joking about Wellington's trampoline distribution system, but you don't want to get hit by a trampoline. If you have a trampoline and you're in Wellington, go and nail it down. Like, absolutely tie that bitch down. Otherwise, stay in your house. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. No, it's gone.
Must have been a lie. It'll come back. My one from earlier didn't come back, so it's all there. Okay. Well, let's wrap up. I do want to touch on this last story, and I know that you guys think that this is the topic that I most want to talk about. In fact, I was a little bit pissed when I thought, oh, fuck, we really probably should talk about this, because this conversation around the BSA and Sean Plunkett is continuing. Now, the thing that happened today is he is on the verge of making a retraction. What is he making a retraction about? He's making a retraction about doxing the gentleman. Now, do you remember that? I think we may have played it, and so we probably in part were some of the reason the gentleman's name went out there. But when we talked about his listener who came at us, we didn't mention that person's name. Although the person who came at us, Chewy informed me, is fairly well known and very Googleable. So if we had have mentioned that person's name, everyone would have been able to look at that. Now, I suspect a couple of things, Chewy. If you know who the person is who made the complaint, or you've got a connection, I would like to connect with them. I've tried today, but part of me kind of goes, well, maybe they haven't been bombarded with revolting mail because they've been quite hard to find. I've spent a bit of time trying to actually locate them to see if we can talk to them. But it sounds to me like this man is backpedaling, realizing he has doxed someone and that someone is suffering at the hands of his flying monkeys. That could be wrong, because I do go, I'm pretty good at finding people online. I struggle to, maybe not, but that's what it sounds like. There's one other thing it could be about Chewy, and I'll do that in a second. Let's have a listen to the walk back.
Look, I want to start this morning with a request of you. As you know, issues around the BSA and the platform have become quite the news, and in fact, telling you I've had a message from, it's gone international, I've had a message from Sky News in Australia who want me to do an interview with them. It's going to be sometime before midnight tonight.
I don't know, but if he is, we wish him well. Sorry.
But I will talk to them.
What a martyr. That radio station in Australia, television station, okay, I guess I'll have to talk to them.
And I will, we'll play that afterwards. I'm going to go on with a guy called Paul Harvey, who does an excellent show on Sky News in Australia, a political show. And we will talk about this issue because it's very important to many of you during the course of the morning, despite what the left-wing trolls who are now going to text me and say, move on, say.
I thought about this today. He talked about this a lot again today for some reason. He's talking about this because it has impacted him.
Mm.
This is an important story because it has impacted him. He has spent days because something has annoyed him. And I thought about what we were doing tonight, talking about the wild weather, talking about the strikes, talking about, Marama and David Seymour. He has had a self-flagellating week that the only reason he's talking about this is because it's impacted him. And every time he says it's about the platform and it's about you and it's about everybody on the internet. No, it's about him. And that's the only reason this is being talked about. But still, we'll get to what he says about the original complainant.
And some amazing revelations overnight. But I do want to make a serious plea and request of you.
Now, serious plea, Chewy, implies shit's been going down, stuff's been happening, and you guys got to stop.
All this was supposedly sparked, though I don't think it really was, by a complaint to me about a program we aired, not a program, about something I said in June or July. And this person wrote to me saying he wanted to complain under the BSA, and I said, you can't, you plonker, I'm not covered. And things developed from there. That individual's identity, I guess, was disclosed when I published all my correspondence from the BSA.
I guess. The balance of probability, maybe it was me who released the person's name, and while I released it, I said, I don't care. I can release it because it's in the document. That was the vibe of what he did. Maybe.
Quick question there, Professor. Would someone that's worked in the industry of journalism for as long as Oliver has, would he know that you should probably scrub personal details off a document before you release it? Like just as basic journalistic ethics 101?
Yeah. You should know that. You should know.
Kind
of like what we did when someone complained to us. That kind of, we're not journalists, but that kind of journalistic ethic, those ethics in broadcasting.
So are you saying you can be ethical and moral without necessarily having to because of a particular employment situation or a particular career? Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right, let's keep going, because there's a couple of little things, not long, but a couple of little things to share after this.
And there's nothing I can do about that now.
I've doxed him. There's nothing I can do.
That person has contacted me quite a lot since.
Oh. Just listen to the measured way he's speaking. I'm not going to play it for you, but if you went back to when he first spoke about this person, listen to the measured, the words he is picking carefully.
I don't really want to comment. I'm not going to repeat the
I don't want to
correspondence, but it would appear to me that person has had a few things going on in their life which are causing some strain. And a number of people obviously have contacted or made comment about him during the last week or so.
Have contacted.
I'd ask that we don't. That person, that individual, is not really responsible for what the BSA are trying to do, for their overreach and for this controversy. I think that person was an unwitting pawn in a wider game being played by the wokesters at the BSA. So I would ask that you leave that person alone. They've also suffered a bereavement in the last week or so, and they are clearly feeling that, and that's impacting on them. So I do ask that we stick to the issue on this, and we don't play the person, and we don't do what, of course, it would appear to me the people at the BSA want to do. We don't launch our witch hunt against him. No point me taking down the stuff I've posted. It's already out there in the world.
Well, there actually is, because it's out there in the world, mostly on your site. So if people can come to your site, they can get it. You could absolutely take it down from there.
But let's be decent Kiwis about this, and let's leave that person alone and put our focus where it is, and that's on the issues that this whole thing has raised. Thank you
have
very
raised
much. And if you want to talk about why I've taken that
problem.
attitude, feel free to ring in now. Feel free to text me. But that's where it's at.
So, just to highlight a couple of things that were said. Sean Plunkett, quote, "Don't play the person." Sean Plunkett, "Let's be decent Kiwis." Now, I had a thought, Chewy, and my thought was, wonder if there's been, there's a couple of possibilities, maybe three, right? The first possibility is this person, and if you know the person who they are, I would love to speak to them. Off air, off the record, whatever. I've been trying to connect to them for a couple of days. So connect us. The first one is the person is being inundated, to use Sean's word about us, one person, but has been actually inundated with what I imagine is the most vulgar, filthiest, most violent rhetoric aimed at them. That's option one. Option two is that this person has had some kind of really serious issue in their life, and Sean is actually showing care and concern. I know, don't say it out loud, I know, but it is a possibility. The third option is me wondering if there's been any more legal threats, a la lawyer Barbara Bucket. Now, if you don't know this was just a few weeks ago, right? I'm not going to play you the audio, although this is, you can watch this if you want. Sean Plunkett, a couple of weeks ago, put out a statement from Sean Plunkett. He is making an apology in response to a statement of claim served on me 28th of July 2025 regarding comments that he made on the platform in June about the lawyer Barbara Bucket. I won't repeat those comments, but I want to be absolutely clear. I regret making them. I suspect he regrets making them because he was forced to pay for making them. I crossed a line I shouldn't have crossed. Whatever my views about the case in which Ms. Bucket was involved, it was wrong of me to question her personal integrity or motives, like he does with every person he disagrees with. This is why we said the other day, if you think we're kind of talking about this too much or going too hard, we are picking on a bully. He is a bully. Questioning personal integrity and motives is his MO. And we need to highlight this person, and we need to continue to kick him in the nuts until he actually starts to not play the fucking person and be a decent Kiwi. When he starts doing that, we'll stop kicking him in the nuts. The platform, open debate. The truth is, I let my frustration over the outcome of the employment dispute get the better of me, yada, yada, yada. Unreversibly apologise to Ms. Bucket what I've done, allowing others to repeat, so he influenced people, those allegations, and for broadcasting them publicly to the platform's listeners. And I want to make the same apology on behalf of the platform. I recognise that words alone won't undo the damage that I have caused. It's like, this is the magnanimous bit, or is it a legal judicial requirement that you pay? But what he's saying is, I recognise that words alone don't undo the damage that I have caused, but hopefully a public correction and apology will help in that regard. As a part of the setting of the High Court action brought by Ms. Bucket, I have paid her legal costs and a sum by way of damages. So the next option is perhaps there has been a legal issue come up around what he's done. That could be option 3. Finally, Chewy, here's something interesting for you. This is Sean Plunkett's public page. You can see that this, what is it called? That's my login up there. That's actually an old podcast login. That's the Department of Conversation. And I can go and look at Sean Plunkett, yeah? I've moved to my personal page and I go to Sean Plunkett. Free speech.
So that's a blessing.
No, try and get into Sean Plunkett from my personal. I'm blocked. Maybe it's a mistake. So let's go to the big hairy news one. There, we'll just go back and see if we can get to Sean Plunkett through the big hairy news login. Yeah, it's still there. So Captain Free Speech doesn't seem to be quite so free speech after all, blocking people he doesn't like to hear from. You know how he rallies against people turning off comment sections? It's one of his things, as he turns off comment sections for individuals. Anyway,
interesting. He's forgotten me again. I'm still on his page. Maybe I'll remind him.
Get on there and remind him. Yeah, look, we just wanted to highlight it. He is backpedaling, as every narcissist who thinks that this is the thing, right? He's a bully. He thinks the world can't touch him, and he treats the world like he treats combative interviews on the platform. He thinks he can do in real life what he does to people on his radio show, and you can't. You can't treat people like that. There are both legal repercussions, social repercussions, and people who are bigger and badder bullies than you, who will continue to kick you in the nuts until you stand by what you've said and be a decent Kiwi. Done, Joey. I'm done.
Cool.
Love to hear your thoughts, though.
Sean's terrible. Look, he's saying this is a problem completely of his own creation.
Yep.
And it's one of those things of having morals and being ethical. And like if you were that, and if you knew that from your long and storied career, you'd know all of this, and you wouldn't make this mistake, and you wouldn't have to call off your goblin army from harassing a member of the public for having an opinion, which he is apparently very, very pro.
Yeah. His army, like the reason I say that thing about the person who made the complaint, the uptick we've seen of his supporters in our DMs, comments page, email box and stuff is significant. And just remember, we started none of this. We reported on the original story, and then I have no evidence of this, but someone wondered over the weekend if he was into the whiskey bottle. Someone wondered that to me on a DM. Don't know that, have no evidence of that, don't know that, but for some reason he started to attack on the weekend, and we've responded. And again today, we're just doing this is a new story we're reporting for you, just to show.
Anyway,
right.
I refuse to leave the show on Sean Plunkett. I just saw a quite interesting little thing. We're not going to dig deeper because it's not nice time. We're both tired. But whenever there is talk of big public transport projects and they look at the return of the investment and maybe this is going to lose money. Like think of the discussion when they started running that commuter train between Hamilton and Auckland.
Yeah,
right. It was never going to take off. It was going to be a money hole. It's just not worth doing. That's what we always hear about.
The EV payback, the EV subsidy that was net positive by the end when they cancelled it.
But even if it's not net positive,
it's a service.
Maybe it's something that loses money. Maybe it's public transport.
Yep, 100%. It's a service.
So I was looking at this article. In 2024, Dutch Railways recorded a social profit of 1.33 billion euros.
Wow.
It lost financially 141 million euros. So what is this social profit that they're talking about? Now, this is a measure that I wish more governments would talk about. So the positive societal value stemmed from social inclusion, so access for a range of people to access work, school, travel, for people with disabilities. Makes it easier for them to be part of society and get around.
Yeah, real important.
Increase in property values near stations.
Ah, interesting.
The welfare of employers and consumers, and the productive use of travel time. Now, when you see it written down like that, that all innately makes a lot of sense, right?
Yep.
This is why that community, what is it, Tahuya?
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's taken off. Because people have gone, well, I could actively drive my fucking car from Hamilton to Auckland and stay in gridlock. Or I can sit on the train, I can get some work done before I get into the office, or I just arrive into the office ready to work. Yeah, your favorite podcast through a JBL speaker for everybody else to hear as well. All of that sort of stuff. This is a measure that I wish our government spoke about when they talk about big infrastructure projects, things like public transport. There is, whenever, like the Greens were talking about making buses free everywhere for everyone.
Yep.
And it was always going, this is going to cost us this much. Tell us about how much money it's going to make society as a whole.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, where have you got that from? That sounds like that should be a Greens front and centre policy.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I would love to tell you.
So we message Chloe. So we message Marama.
Yeah,
I found Chewy wants a chat.
I found this, and you should have it. But yeah, it's It's a great piece. I'll put it up on our Discord. I'll chuck it up on our Facebook page and that sort of thing. But the Dutch have been working on public transport. This isn't just something that has popped up. You can find pictures of the Netherlands where they were drowning in cars just the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
This is decades and decades and decades of making choices to make sure the trains run on time, and that they're accessible to people, and that there are other methods of getting around that aren't cars. Yeah. Every country can do this. The Dutch are definitely reaping the benefits. Why can't we? We're New Zealanders. We can have nice things too.
I was just having a look at, I just did a Google search and I haven't found it, but there's some really interesting research about roading. We just need more roads. And roads are like goldfish. Yeah, the use of cars tend to grow to the size of the number of lanes. So there's lots of examples. And sorry, I'm looking through pictures. One won't pop up. But there's lots of examples of like a gridlocked 2-lane road turning into a gridlocked 4-lane road. And making no difference to the commuter. Whereas if you had to use those 2 lanes and put like a 2-way train system on it, I love the idea of the train. I mean, it's one of the things that I guess I don't like about Dunedin is we're so small. I mean, we're the 6th or 5th or biggest city, but we're still comparatively so small. The infrastructure here for a public transport system is harder. And unlike going from Hamilton to Auckland an hour and a half in gridlock, it's 7 minutes. So it does feel it's one step harder to get onto a bus and get off a bus because it's not difficult to get around. But then maybe that's what we need. We need it to be made more difficult to get around. So
Dunedin used to have commuter rail. Yeah. Dunedin used to have commuter rail from Mosgiel to Port Chalmers. And then we decided that we didn't want to do that. So yeah, just something to think on. A better world.
Better living, everyone. Before we go, thanks. And look, I know I just did a big kind of push for patrons, but I genuinely thank the people who have jumped on tonight: James, Millie, Alan, Mrs. Edge, as well as some others as well. I don't know if it's a silly thing or not to say let's try and make 500 by Christmas Day, but let's give it a crack. And just so you know, whānau, Christmas party is all go. The 6th of December, we'll make sure that there is some inclusion for you guys, maybe through some live streams or something like that. But coming to the party is there's me. I'm going to be there, and Mrs. Me, and there's going to be Chewy and Mrs. Chewy, and there's going to be Jason, our tech guy, and Mrs. Jason, and there's going to be Yoan, who is the person who's developing our website, which is unbelievably good. And there's going to be Mrs. Yoan and Master Yoan as well. There is going to be Dr. Gary Payinda. I think Gary's coming by himself. There is going to be Emily and Mr. Emily. There's going to be Magenta. We're still working on Craig, but we'll see what happens. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Magenta has come up with the idea of a meetup in Dunedin on that weekend as well. So without going too deep into it, I'm going to say we're going to attempt to do a meetup as well. Chewy and I did a meetup in Auckland. Magenta has done meetups in Wellington, and we'll have a meetup in Dunedin, likely on that weekend as well. And that means next year, the first place we got to get to is Christchurch, and then obviously everywhere in between as well. So thank you for being a part of the patronage. If you want to also support us, which hand, Chewy? It's that one. Oh, I got it right.
Oh, nicely done.
The QR code up there, and I know I've already done this once today, but we're not bombarding with you for the whole time anymore. It's going to have off and on when we do it. The nomination for the Listener Choice Award at the New Zealand Podcasts, nzpodcastawards.com/nominate, or just click on the QR code. Nominate us. You've got to put in that nomination where you listen to us. YouTube channel, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you do it. You can probably put the Facebook channel as well. I guess you can probably even put the Twitter feed, because they're all places that's where you consume us, and that's where you consume us. And that's about it. I mean, I think that's it for me. Thanks, team. Thanks for dealing with my my sleepy dyslexia tonight. Have I got a dog? Oh, no, I've got no dog. Sorry, I'm not going to show my dog. Yeah,
I'm going to leave on one thing. This is the last thing I'm going to say. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Pat. Did you know Dunedin has its own Banksy?
I do not.
He pops up every now and then. He disappears. He's very mysterious. Nobody knows who he is. Fellatio fish.
Okay.
Famous Dunedin artist.
Where is that? It kind of looks like it's on someone's desk. Is it outside on a wall?
No, it's on a house. It's on a boarded up house. Yeah, but
boarded
fellatio fish. This is some of Dunedin culture that I love to share with the rest of you from around the world.
Do we know who fellatio fish is?
And
do we know?
For the audio podcast, it's a very crudely drawn fish with a very crudely drawn penis in the fish's mouth.
Is that what that is? I thought it was. It could be a fist going into like.
I mean, art is subjective. Yeah. You can see whatever you want to see. I choose to see. Use my context clues and say it's fellatio fish, and it looks kind of like that fish is doing a fellatio.
Fellatio, gotcha. Speaking of, because I was about to say we should expose them and get them on the show. Not that I'm going to expose the person, but remember, if you are connected to the person who laid the complaint at the platform, I'm not saying expose them. I just what reminded me. Connect us with them or them with us. It'd be great because I would love to have a chat with them. And get the rest of the story, even if it's off air and unofficial and off the record. I still would like to. All right, my dude. Is there anything else we need to kind of figure out?
No, I've done two really weird. Well, I've done a serious tangent and a really weird one, so I think I'm done.
Okay, which was the serious one?
Fellatio fish.
You're a silly man. You are a silly
I'm a silly goose.
You're a silly goose. All right, Whānau. Let's say a big, huge, massive thanks to all of our patrons as they scroll and scribble past us. And thanks for being with us tonight. Remember, be safe tomorrow in the weather. We will obviously be reporting on the strike tomorrow. It'll be not a downsized strike in participation, but maybe in people out with their signs. And if you're in Dunedin, I'll hopefully get along to the Edgar Centre, maybe closer to 1 o'clock. I have an unmovable appointment, unfortunately. And wherever you are, support your teachers, support your nurses, support your firefighters, support your ACC workers. Have I left anyone out, Chewy?
Workers of the world unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains.
Help us settle a debate, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have the hand out for rewards, while the many have to work out what they can't afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention. Other media is still dwelling on trivial facts, vetting peas from the rice and the mice from the rats, and picking and choosing a war path to run, linking ourselves with the hill to die on. It's gotta come down to a welcoming vibe, with an A and a self and a higher in mind. All heavily, neither this way or that, and will be analyzed by Chewy and Pat. With the evil in the world trying to mess with your head, and you're sitting on the couch, you're thinking chivalry's dead. Each night, 2 nights, they're gonna sing you to bed. It's big hairy news.
Nothing else from me, Chewy. You going to wrap up with anything? Any inspiring words of Marxism or whatever else you kids are into?
No,
these days?
I just did that, Pat. Tomorrow is Bully the Government Day. Get into it.
All right, team. Catch you tomorrow. See you tomorrow night from 9. Hooroo!
Cheers, man.
Shot.